We are live 364 days a year. What are we doing here?
If Dom turns at SummerSlam, I'm shaving my moustache off. I've told you, if that happens, it's going. My lip is cold because of a stupid bet that I made with you two.
Oh, good.
Wrestle's better than Daniel Bryan Daniels. Better than Okada.
How do you not get pushy after Monday Night Raw?
Welcome to Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, a show where a rotating cast of wrestling fans from around the world come and share and debate their opinions, with live comments from all of you shown throughout, as after all, fans are what makes wrestling so special. So sit back, grab a beverage and enjoy the show. Could Finn Balor be the next WWE World Heavyweight Champion? What is up, everybody? Good evening from Swansea, South Wales. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are watching the Wrestling Republic daily broadcast the night after Monday Night Raw, and it was in Europe. I didn't have to stay up to 4 a.m., and that was fantastic. It was lovely to watch, and it will be lovely to talk about all of it on today's show. But before we get into all of that, I need to introduce the panel, because it would be very rude if I didn't. First up, we have Jordy in the bank. How are you, Jordy?
Hello, my friend. I'm good. I'm very good. Very much like you. I don't know if the lovely viewers have noticed I look a little bit more awake this week. But yeah, Raw's in Europe. I don't have to wait up until 1 a.m. because I'm always a sucker for watching it live. So I'll always try and wait up and stay up if I can. So it was great. And I think they delivered a solid episode last night. So I'm excited to talk about it.
Absolutely. I mean, I think they're on a little bit of a roll currently, WWE. I
Don't
know
jinx
some
it.
people didn't like it. I know some people didn't like last week's show. I
Oh.
did. I think they're 3 for 3 in 2020. Well, yeah, I mean, 3 for 3 in the last week, really. So far, and NXT, of course, was great too. So 4 for 4 even. But also joining us today, we have Dez. How are our things, Dez?
I'm doing good. What's good, WR? Ben, Jordy, it's always a pleasure to be on here. I gotta say, I've been to Portugal before, and I don't know how you guys do it, man. I had to watch Monday Night Raw once at 1 a.m. The way you guys stay up back in Europe, it's very impressive. But yeah, this time you can actually enjoy the show and not be tired. But yeah, last night was great. Excited to get into it.
Absolutely, yeah. 1 a.m. every single week,
Yeah, I don't know how
twice
you
a
do
week,
it.
3 times if you want to watch NXT. It's
True.
absolute hell, I tell you. I mean, I wonder why I've got sleep issues, and I'm like, actually, that's probably why. Number 1 Superfly is in the comments. Hello to you. And DCX Warlord saying, 2 years ago today, Nick Nemeth made his TNA debut. Time flies. Time absolutely flies, and Raw was fire. I agree, Fernando, but let's talk about it, because could Finn Balor dethrone CM Punk to become the World Heavyweight Champion? I mean, the short answer would surely be no, but after this past week on SmackDown where Drew McIntyre actually beat Cody Rhodes, it currently feels like anything is possible. But I will say this, I am almost certain that Finn Balor has had more title shots in the last couple of years than actual singles wins, Jordy. I have no idea how on earth he keeps getting himself in these situations. What does he have on these general managers?
I don't know if it's that, right? So it's really unfortunate for Finn how good he is to an extent, and I think that's what it is. I think it doesn't seem that long ago, although it probably was, and this is leaning into what you just said about time flying and Nick Nemeth debuting 2 years ago. But obviously, he had a program with Seth for the World Heavyweight title at Money in the Bank, and obviously that was in the UK. So I just feel like they kind of use him as a little plug and play. How can we get a good feud out of a champion and still have them retain and know that they're going to put on a banger of a match? And that's why I worry for Finn. I would love for Finn to get another run at the title. I absolutely would. I think he deserves it, earns it. I think he's got the ability to do it. I worry because of such a star-studded roster that we've got right now, whether we'll actually get there. And I think the difference, sadly, between this and Drew is the Drew and Cody thing had been building for quite a while up until that point. They'd had a few scraps beforehand, you know what I mean? It was kind of at boiling point. Finn and Punk has just started now, so I don't think they're going to pull the trigger, but I just know that we're going to get a great match, and I hope that somewhere down the line that Finn does get a chance and actually win it and just kind of show the world what he can do again, because we all know how talented that man is. And not that he's had his wings clipped, because he's been featured heavily on WWE TV for the past 2 years in the Judgment Day. I know people have had some things to say. It's been a bit of a roller coaster with the Judgment Day, but he's been consistently booked on TV and within the main storylines and stuff like that. So I think you consider that a win. I just think that he can do more, and I hope that we get to see that. I just don't think that this is exactly that opportunity, sadly.
I mean, unfortunately, Jordy, I do think that you are right. I mean, look, one possibility, especially if they really want to shake up this road to WrestleMania, they want to get that Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown viewership up. One possibility they do, because I've already said it, I am near certain McIntyre is going to drop the title long before Mania. Maybe they also hot potato this belt and have Balor win it, and then a returning Seth Rollins take it off of Finn Balor, and that's how they get to Rollins Breaker against CM Punk at WrestleMania, which I do think is going to be the direction. But I do agree, Jordy. I don't think it's necessarily likely. But Des, what's your perspective?
Last Friday honestly shows that anything is possible. I will say this. Finn Balor winning would be really interesting, because obviously last year, it talks about push and how he's going to finally be one of the main guys, and then he's on a big losing streak and he didn't have a lot of matches. But for me, I feel like Cody and Drew was already getting stale, so that's the reason why they made the push. For CM Punk, he's only had one title defense since winning it back at a Saturday Night's Main Event, where he beat Braun Breaker. So I don't see him dropping it to Finn Balor right away. But if they did go in that direction, that'd be interesting. And I like the idea you pointed out, Ben, about Seth Rollins beating Finn Balor again. It just goes for more long-term storytelling, because it just seems like every time Finn has something, Seth just takes it from him.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that is also true. I mean, Seth Rollins was responsible. I'm going to be honest here. Seth Rollins, I genuinely think, is the one who's most responsible for the downfall of Finn Balor. If he had a proper championship reign, I do think he'd be one of the biggest babyfaces in this company. I think his entire career would have been different. I think he would have been a WrestleMania main eventer. People forget he was like 33 when he was called up to the main roster, right? That was relatively young. He is now like 43, 44. I mean, it is absolutely crazy. And of course, 10 years ago, DCX Warlord says it was 10 years ago. Wrestling Republic had only just started.
What's it, 10 years ago?
Was it 2016?
SummerSlam 2016, yeah.
That's right. It was 16,
so not
not
quite
17.
10 years yet, but 10 years this year.
Wow. Yeah.
Damn.
But, I mean, we got Suryash saying that they hope Drew stays champion for a long time. I personally just can't see it happening. I do think he is going to be dropping this belt long before Mania. I think there's two options here. One, he drops it straight back to Cody Rhodes. I think that's possible. Or the other option, he drops it to Sami Zayn at the Rumble, and then Sami Zayn drops it to Cody Rhodes or Roman Reigns. Because I still think we're getting Cody Roman. I still don't care what people are saying. I think that's where they're building to. The entire purpose of that Survivor Series match was they were building that. They were teasing that up. The match ended with Roman Reigns saying, we're not teaming up anymore. The week before on Raw, he says that he's coming for one of their titles, not whose. I think it's going to be Cody Rhodes, and I do think Cody is going to need that title. So whether it's McIntyre, whether it's Sami, I do think Cody is winning it back in Elimination Chamber after we take care of Jacob Fatu. But it kind of does open up the question with Finn Balor about, what is going to be his direction for the road to WrestleMania? Is there going to be any plans for him, do you think, Jordy?
I don't know, man. It's really difficult to tell. If I got stuck on Roman and Cody, and I'm just sat here thinking, do I want to see it or not? Because
that's a good question. Angie said yesterday she didn't want to see it.
I love them both dearly, and I love the matches that we've got so far. I just don't know if it's a bit too soon to do the third. And I understand it's going to sell tickets. Like 100%, it is going to sell tickets. But it's almost like you've got an in case of emergency, break the glass situation with Cody and Roman 3. I don't know if we're in that emergency right now. Maybe they are. But I would keep it. I would hold it back and push it back a couple more years. But I guess, listen, we all know the wrestling game. Sometimes we do that and then it never happens. And then it's like, oh, we've missed the opportunity. Right now, they've got both very, very high stock. From when you look at not just WWE, they were both in Street Fighter. People, you know what I mean? They've got very high stock right now. So maybe the call is to pull the trigger and do the third one, and then I start wondering who wins. So lots of questions, man. Yeah, as soon as you mentioned Roman and Cody 3, it's like I went into a trance all of a sudden, and I just started thinking of the possibilities of what could happen.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah,
there's a lot of different directions, and that's what's exciting to me. And I agree with you, Jordy. I do think it's a bit too soon. Not 2 years too soon. I actually think 2 years is too late, especially when you'll have all those younger stars then around the main event scene too. I think it's kind of outstayed its welcome a little bit. I think the perfect WrestleMania for it to really end the trilogy would be next year. The issue is, next year's in Saudi Arabia. And there's another issue, and that is the time clock on Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. To your point, Jordy, it's going to be Rock and Roman, I think, next year, which does make me think maybe Roman is going to win the tiebreaker this year. But either way, I mean, I understand why they probably have to do it this year. But it's just, my perspective is, it has to be now. It has to be, because otherwise Survivor Series makes absolutely no sense. And you can't make one of the big four when, let's face it, a lot of fans were already complaining about that match and about that show as a whole. You can't suddenly make it go down in the history books as meaning nothing. That has to be what's setting up WrestleMania. If they wanted to do Punk versus Cody, the teasers should have already have been there. I do think that's a match they could have done, or even Roman Punk, but they had to do, I do think, one of three of those combinations for the main event of night 2. Dez, what are you edging towards?
So the way I feel about it is I feel like you guys hit it on the head. They have great matches, right? It had 2 good matches. I just feel like the ending of WrestleMania 40 was so good. Just don't even touch it. I know why they're going to touch it, because it will draw tickets. People will want to see Roman and Cody. And who knows, right? Cody, he just lost a championship. Maybe he had a bit of a character shift. Not a full heel turn, but just kind of like a different dynamic between him and Roman Reigns, where now it's Roman Reigns trying to claim everything back, and Cody could have a championship again. But I understand why people don't want to see it. If they're going to do it, at least they have to end it off, you know? Because I think 40 was perfect. But if they're going to run it back, it has to be a better ending.
The thing is, right, WWE is obviously entertainment based off sports. Sports entertainment, yes. That's why they call it that. And in sport, and in combat sports specifically, next to no series ever end 1-1. Because the biggest money you can make is on the trilogy fight, the decider.
John Cena versus The Rock.
Okay, that's one, right? That is one.
That is one.
But the reason why they couldn't do a trilogy is very simply because The Rock wasn't there. He struggled too much coming in for the previous 2 times. If they could, they wouldn't have left that money on the table, because the third is always the big money fight, especially Cena versus Rock was era versus era. This is the same era versus same era. This is who is the face of the Triple H era. Is it Cody Rhodes? Is it Roman Reigns? This is the biggest money fight that WWE could make. This is genuinely a once-in-a-generational fight, because I can't remember the last time. In fact, I know the last time. It was Rock and Stone Cold. You had 2 stars of this magnitude on the top of the card, and you're like, which one's better? I don't know. We're going to get that answer.
I've got a little, not rebuttal, it's just a question to you guys. Is that Cody and Roman, or is that Roman and Seth? Because in my head, Roman and
Cody.
Seth is
I understand. Cody Roman.
I think the storyline is deeper for Seth and Roman, though.
Like, I agree.
I completely agree. It's a better story.
And I think, I've always said, I feel like they're the Rock and Austin of this era. And I feel like that's the big payoff match. And again, that's another, when we're ready, we'll do that moment. Because, like, look at all the things, like, even last year, Seth betrayed him. Like, Roman and Seth is going to happen at some point. And when they play that VT the day before WrestleMania, the amount of content that they're going to be able to pull into that from literally coming into the main roster together, I think
that is a
I care
WrestleMania
more
match.
about that, even though this is 1-1. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're
Yeah.
saying.
I completely agree with you, but the issue is, Jordy, right? The guys who are always the faces of the company and the guys who are always the faces of the era, once they reach the top, do not hang around the mid card. They do not, for a few years, completely leave the title scene. Seth has done that multiple times. Seth has not been a main event star since 2015 when he first won that title. He has been in and out of it constantly, right? I love Seth. He's actually my favorite out of the three guys we just mentioned. But he is not the magnitude. He is not the box office star that both Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes, I think, are in the eyes of WWE right now. Now, don't get me wrong. I actually think if Rollins didn't get hurt, the original plan for WrestleMania was going to be Rollins versus Reigns for the World Heavyweight Championship. But I do think that obviously that now they're going to have to do it with Breakker, and I think Seth and Punk still have unfinished business, so I think the triple threat makes a lot of sense. But we've got quite a few comments I do want to read out. Digital Memory Card says Roman and Seth are Triple H's guys. That's a fair point, but I think Cody is too. He says that he wanted, and he said this in the clip backstage after WrestleMania 40. He wants Cody Rhodes to be the guy, the face of his era, and that was a telling quote. We got a comment here saying Mania 40 was thumbs up. Mania 41 was bad night too. But also, DCX Warlord says, have Finn hold the title until the Chamber and have Dominic or JD screw him at the Chamber. That's another direction you could go as well. And in previous years, we have complained about the road to WrestleMania feeling too predictable. And suddenly, with this Drew McIntyre title change, it's a lot more unpredictable. Even if they don't pull the trigger with this Finn thing, at least it is different. And that is why I am enjoying it here. Numero 1 says he thinks Finn Balor is finally going to go one-on-one with Dominic Mysterio at WrestleMania. It's been teased just as long as Randy has been teasing another match with Cody. We'll get there, in the words of Han from Fast and Furious. Up next, guys, we need to talk about the Women's Tag Team Championships, because let's be real, nobody cared about these belts this time last year. Nobody, really. They were just stuck in the mid-card, maybe even beneath that. Very few tag teams, if any. As soon as Jillian and Bianca lost them, they just lost pretty much all their stock. You fast forward a year, and suddenly 90% of this women's division are in tag teams together, and everybody wants the belts. And Liv and Roxanne are the next ones to finally be able to challenge for them. Des, I want to get your thoughts.
All right, first off, I just want to give myself a quick pat on the back, because when we did Heaven, Hell, and Purgatory, I had the women's tag team division in Purgatory, and I said word for word, if they can get some main event stars in that picture, then it can make the belts have a lot of value. And lo and behold, here we are. But unfortunately, the solo championships are a bit suffering for the time being. This was a good match as well. I like the dynamic between Liv and Roxanne. And up against Rio, I think it makes a lot of sense too, because what's interesting about both these teams is there's been split ups for both teases, right? Where it's like there's been talks about Rhea and Io, them splitting up, and there's talks between Liv and Roxanne splitting up. So I like the idea that they have both of them there. You have Raquel Rodriguez. She's also in the title picture right now. So yeah, I am excited for this. And I want to ask you guys, if there's going to be a split, which is going to happen first? Is it going to be Liv and Roxanne, or is it going to be Rhea Ripley and Io Sky?
Well, I think that's a very interesting question, because there's also another tag team you need to throw into that mix, and that's Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. And on yesterday's show, I was arguing with Donnie in the comments about this, because I genuinely think the WrestleMania match is going to be Rio against Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, and the loser will have to split up or something along those lines, whether it's an official stipulation or just somebody turns post-match. One of the two will happen. And I mean, there is another option that perhaps Rhea Ripley does turn on Io Sky first, and then that's your WrestleMania match. Rhea Ripley wins the world title or something like that. I don't know, off Stephanie Vaquer. There's a lot of different options here. But I don't think it's going to be Liv and Roxanne who are going to split as. I think it's going to be Liv and Raquel. I think that's your WrestleMania match. I think Raquel beats Stephanie Vaquer, Raquel Rodriguez, Liv Morgan, World Championship, WrestleMania.
I agree.
What does Roxanne do then, though? Because I feel bad
I
for
know.
Roxy in that situation. Or is
I
she
would feel bad.
special
But she's
guest ref?
22 years old. She's got
Yes,
time.
there you go.
Make her the ref. Make her the ref. I'll have a
There
bit
you
of
go.
that. Because obviously, I think
Ooh.
she'll be part of the storyline, won't she? Because
Oh, yeah.
she'll be whose side does she take? So she'll 100% be part of that storyline. It would be great to have her as the ref. I don't know if it would work, but I would personally like to see a triple threat TLC match at Mania. But there you go. I'm a sucker for one of them, and I just think they could deliver. Like, imagine Liv, Roxanne, Charlotte, Alexa, Rhea, and Io in a TLC triple threat tag match.
Who's going to be in the Raw title match?
I don't know.
It's clear that they've decided Stephanie
Bianca and Jade are in one, aren't they? And then I don't know.
The WWE. I mean,
Yes.
it's the world which is the question, but the issue is, I mean, very clearly, as we saw it last night as well, we're not touching on it on today's show, but Stephanie Vaquer is being given more fake injuries than flipping Vince McMahon when he got hit by the car. I mean, honestly, she is just so injured right now, and she's not even injured. She's just got a bit of a swollen ankle in real life. So it's like they're clearly trying to take this belt off her, and I feel bad for her. But then it does lead to the question, okay, who's going to challenge for this World Women's Championship? Because it's like, it feels like everybody's stuck in this tag team picture, which again, to your point, Des, they improved it, so I'm not complaining. Right. But you know,
it's too much.
They haven't found balance.
There might be someone returning at the Rumble that they have in mind to challenge for the Raw. You never know. We don't know at this point. Anything could realistically happen. But yeah, no, that's a very good point. I just thought as well, like they could actually, rather than Roxanne being the ref, chuck her in, make her a triple threat. I'd enjoy that.
That'd be interesting. I'd be cool with that.
I'd be against it based on there was a big criticism last year. There was too many triple threats. And I do think the men's world this year is going to be triple threat. I'm almost certain.
Yeah, fair enough.
Me too.
Story. Yeah, they won't do two. They won't do two.
Yeah. But I mean, who knows, right? This person saying, will Cody turn heel? A lot of people speculated. I don't think there's a chance in hell, very simply because nobody's selling how he's selling right now, especially to the younger audience. And at the end of the day, it's a business. They turned John Cena heel because they knew they had Cody and they put him up against Cody to try and make Cody an even bigger babyface. I think they'll turn him one day, but that day isn't anytime soon. Up next, guys, let's talk about AJ Styles and Gunther, because last night they fought for the first time ever, and this match put a big old smile on my face. It was bucket loads of fun, and of course, as you'd always expect from a main event of Monday Night Raw, the finish wasn't quite clean. But it was an interesting one and quite a controversial one because Gunther actually did tap out, but the referee didn't see it. AJ Styles thought he'd won the match. He had not won the match, and then Gunther ended up winning the match. Jordy, you're the biggest John Cena fan here at Wrestling Republic, so I want to get your thoughts on this. Are you finally happy that Gunther tapped out and can stop calling John Cena a little B-word?
No. But right, let me. Since Gunther tapped Cena out, I've very much not, and I've been quite vocal about it, especially in our chat, that I've very much not been impressed. Aside from that first week, where the heat was atomic, and I still think that they could have executed that better. I do think week by week the boos have gotten quieter, and credit to Gunther, he's doing what he can. If he's being told to just go out there and say the same line every week, like there's only so much you can do, right? So I've really not been massive. Obviously, I wasn't happy with the finish. I wasn't happy with how Cena's career ended. But since then, I thought, right, at least use this as a chance as a catalyst to really make Gunther this guy that we all hate. And it's not been that for me. I've said this. It's not felt anything. I've just been like, all right, cool. However, last night really did change things. I have to admit, the finish was good. It took me by surprise. I do question that. Obviously, we've now seen Gunther hit a low blow. It's like is the whole ring is sacred wrestling, pro wrestling student of the game thing is kind of out the window. We can really see him lean into being a heel, and he's got it that he's going to wind people up. We saw him tap. We've all seen him tap now, and he's going to kind of say, yeah, didn't matter though, did it? And that will wind people up. And it's like he's recharged them boos, and I really like how they went about the finish last night. I really do. I think that we'll get another AJ Gunther match somewhere down the line because of it. And I just thought it was really creative. When AJ kind of like called it and went over to the ref, I was like, what's going on here? I do think it could have been better if somehow they didn't. I don't know. Maybe I'm playing devil's advocate. What do you guys think? What would it have been better if still to this point we didn't see whether AJ tapped or not? So like AJ was still just saying he did and the camera didn't get clean footage of it. And then next week it's like, oh, we got fan footage of it. You know what I mean? Or you're happy that they've shown us that
No,
it was...
I'm happy they did it now because I feel like it would have been insulting our intelligence a little bit if they did just wait another week. Like, we know there's cameras everywhere. But the one thing I will say to counter your point, Jordy, right, is that I agree, super creative finish, super, whoever came up with it, well done, really great. I loved it. I think it makes Gunther, it really lessens his stock. I really do think that, because coming out of the John Cena match, that dude did not cheat to beat John Cena, right? He did a few heelish things, but for the most part, that was a clean match.
Yeah.
And he tapped him out. He felt like the most dominant star in this industry. This man retired John Cena. A month passes, and AJ Styles should have beaten him. And I love AJ Styles. He's my favorite wrestler of all time. AJ Styles, over the last couple of years, does not feel like a top main event star, right? He does not feel like he is at the top of the card. He does not feel like he is a main event superstar. And now suddenly Gunther's losing to him in 20 minutes on a weekly TV show, or at least should have. So I actually think this is making Gunther almost feel like more of a comedy character. And I don't like that, if I'm being honest.
That's fair enough. I completely understand. I think that it's like I say, it's going to recharge the boos in the sense that I think the boos will be louder next week than they were this week, because I think that will, like you say, it's an insult to our intelligence almost. I think personally, the way that I would have booked Gunther post Cena, the Cena retirement match, is I would have made him bounce down on Monday the next week. I would have said the whole I made Cena tap out like a B, and then I would have said, and I'm going to do the same to CM Punk. I'm going to come and get my title back. And then I would have had him win. I would have given Punk a short reign, and that would have really made people not like Gunther. Because as well, you can play the same storyline, right? Like how heartfelt some of the moments between Punk and Cena were in the farewell tour. Punk really could have been like, listen, you're not talking about my boy like that. And like, so I just would have done it differently. But yeah, I do understand what you mean. It kind of removes the one thing that Gunther he didn't cheat. That's one thing he's never really done. It's like he'll beat you and he's a heel, but he doesn't need to cheat. So to see him do it last night, it did shock me.
And he did it in the last world title reign as well. I mean, Triple H, which I can't believe this, but Triple H has started actually changing him into more of that character, which I don't like, if I'm being honest, because look, people will disagree with me on this, but I'm going to be honest. I think the genius of Gunther's character is that he is horrible to the fans. He's a guy who just easily is unlikable, but at the same time, in the ring, he doesn't cheat. He does what he does, and he is that good, and that's what annoys you that much about him, is he can do it to a level. He has so many different moves which can beat you, but he does it fairly. And to have somebody do that, to have a heel do that, I thought it was quite refreshing, and it made him unique. And layer by layer, that feels like it's kind of being stripped away from him. And I don't like it. And I feel like Triple H is actually kind of fumbling his character now, because again, Jordy, you are right. He should have been straight in the main event scene after beating John Cena, because you can't go down from there. You have to continue going up, and there's not really anywhere apart from the world title that you can go up to after John Cena. The issue is I think they got plans for that championship, and they booked themselves in a corner here, and that's why I still think it should have been a younger star. Anyway, that's a side rant for another day, I'm sure. Good. Got a comment here from DCX Warlord. Have Gunther take an excursion over to Noah so we can get Marufuji or Keno. I mean, look, I would absolutely love that. It is never happening in a million years, though, but I would love it. I always wanted Gunther in Japan. I said before he signed with NXT UK, I wanted him to sign with New Japan. Obviously, he didn't, and he made the right choice in hindsight, but I would have just selfishly have loved it. Obafemi is the real ring general, says DCX Warlord. Yeah, I do think you are right there. But up next, guys, we need to talk about the big headline coming out of last night's episode of Monday Night Raw. Braun Breaker is suspended, or is he? Because last night, he just went crazy. He lost the world title opportunity to CM Punk the week before, and he was not happy about it. He was taking out Penta, he was taking out everyone. Adam Pearce got in his way, and he took out Adam Pearce as well. Afterwards, Adam Pearce suspended him before Paul Heyman went up to Pearce and said, you made a very big mistake, because the issue here is that you touched him first. Now, I don't like that logic, because if you poke somebody and then they murder you, it's not really the same thing, is it? It's based on the actual action you did. Adam Pearce did not grab Braun Breaker by the neck. Braun Breaker grabbed Adam Pearce by the neck. That's the way it goes, so Braun Breaker should be punished. But the fact that is the story that they are telling means that either the Vision are going to get a reward or Adam Pearce is going to get fired. Two big fan theories today. Number one is Braun Breaker automatically gets number 30 in the Royal Rumble. I could see that happening. I really could. That is what I think the most likely one is. The second one is something Kobe mentioned in the Wrestling Republic chat, and that is, what if Adam Pearce gets fired, and that's how they bring in Chris Jericho? Jordy, I want to get your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, go on. Give us Jericho as a general manager. I'm all over that. I do think, and I know Jericho, I don't think he will do it. He doesn't like kind of repeating gimmicks, does he? I think the biggest and best way to get a pop out of Jericho returning is to bring the list back. And I think if he's the general manager, that just makes it perfect. However, I don't want to see Pierce go. I really don't. I love Pierce as a general manager. I think that they're spinning it really well, because like Heyman is the type of guy that is like, no, I'm gonna take it to court, mate, because I'm gonna say it was self-defense, and we've got good lawyers. So yeah, you're going down. So it is totally believable. And I don't know about you guys, but that moment when Heyman said, from where I was standing, or from my vantage point, you laid your hands on him first, I was like, oh no, like he's right. He definitely did. Like, you're absolutely right in what you said, Ben. Laying a finger on someone and grabbing someone and then spearing them, they're not the same thing. However, Pierce didn't necessarily react well after that. He didn't leave it. Do you know what I mean? At least from a corporate standpoint, if that happens, if someone attacks you, if one of your employees, you don't chase them backstage and start shouting at them that much that you're spitting at them. You leave it, and it's a HR problem. You know what I mean? So he just kept going, and he could face some kind of punishment. I think both of them theories are fantastic. I don't know. I'm again, like you said, it's refreshing to be on here talking about the road to WrestleMania and not being like, this person's definitely going to win the Rumble, this person's definitely going to win the Chamber. Can we just skip to Mania already, because we all know the card? I don't feel like that this year, and I didn't necessarily feel like that last year either. So it's great to be in this position. But yeah, man, I don't know what's going to come of this suspension. I'm excited to find out, though.
And that is the best thing about it, because like you said, the road to Mania now, it is fun, and it feels more fun than it's been in a few years. But I also agree with you that I don't want Adam Pearce to go at all, because this man has done an incredible job. He has actually kind of brought the GM role back to WWE when he was I can't remember what word they called it, but him and Sonya Deville were like answering to corporate or something like that. But he has done such a good job, and I think at first it was very much meant to be a temporary thing. And now it's like, honestly, I'd like to have him here for at least another 2-3 years, to be honest with you. But Dez, I want to get your perspective. What do you think this is building to?
So I'm going to be honest. I feel like we've talked about this with Nick Aldis, where we're just kind of waiting for his in-ring return. I honestly could see a scenario where maybe Braun Breaker faces Adam Pearce and they have like a match on Raw, but it's not really a match. And then afterwards, maybe Breaker like just beats him so bad that Breaker demands that he gets number 30 to be in the Rumble, and that's how he gets in. I like that fan theory. The Jericho fan theory, I feel like that one's kind of a reach. I like how Jordy said bringing back the list would get him really over, and I agree. Can you imagine if he had the list as a GM? It'd be great. I think really good television. But the Braun Breaker theory seems like the most sense for him getting number 30. I was not expecting it, to be completely honest with you. You know, it was a good tag match. Braun Breaker just came in and just absolutely decimated Dragon Lee. It was crazy to see. And then a lot of respect to Pierce. I feel like in kayfabe, Pierce is like one of the best GMs we've had in a long time. We've had a few GMs, but they weren't really like GMs. This is like a legit general manager. So to see Pierce go, I agree. I don't really want to see it. And if it goes to a match, I think it'd be interesting because Pierce, I think it was like Roman Reigns or maybe it was scrapped. I think that was the closest we had to a Pierce in-ring match.
I mean, there's two benefits that I can see to getting rid of Adam Pearce, Des. And the first one is, his liver would recover because this man needs to drink every Monday night. He is absolutely furious. The vision of taking years off his life. And the other one is that the other potential positive is that he could go over to AEW. And that way we can have Christopher Daniels have one show off every week, because he could play Christopher Daniels' stunt double. He can be doing Collision as Christopher Daniels, and Christopher Daniels can do Dynamite as himself. These two guys, honestly, they look almost identical. It is absolutely hilarious. But in all seriousness, I do agree, no way can they get rid of him. He is too important, and that's a great point you made about actual Pierce feeling like a general manager as well. But here is the thing, Jordy. I'll ask this to you. Obviously, you've seen Chris Jericho for years and years and years. Do you think maybe there is more value in him being an on-screen figure compared to in-ring wrestler at this point in his career?
Ooh, I don't know if he's got more value, because you'd make the argument, how long has he got left as a in-ring performer and how long could he have left as a on-screen presence? And it's like, the time is very much ticking in terms of in-ring, but I feel like you could get a couple of years out of him in ring, knowing that then after that he's
a couple of years,
maybe.
Ooh.
2 years isn't that long, right? It could be, you know what I mean? It's especially in wrestling, that could be like a little program, a break for 6 months and then back and then another little break. But however long it is, say it's 18 months, say it's 12 months, knowing that after that he will be an on-screen presence. So I would kind of cash in on the matches that you can cash in on now. Right, or you can bring him in as an on-screen presence, and like we've all wanted with Pierce for the longest time, and people would probably want it more with Jericho.
Yeah,
that it builds to a match. Yeah, that it eventually at the end of it, it does build to a match. And I think if you bring back Jericho as a Raw general manager, people are going to want to see him wrestle from the moment they see him again.
Yeah,
so people will be clawing for it by the time it happens. So
that's a good point, because here's the thing, Jordy. I agree that in theory Jericho could wrestle for another 2 years. I just don't think that he could wrestle regularly on WWE programming for another 2 years, because their roster is so incredible. Jericho, I love his work genuinely. I think it's fantastic, and I think he gets way too much hate. I think if he works regularly on that roster at his age, after doing the amount he's done in his career, I think he's going to be exposed fairly quickly like he was during his last run in AEW, and unfortunately, that's just life. I think if you use him now and then for a couple of years, you could do it, but you can't use him regularly. You have to protect him so when he wrestles, it feels special, and therefore, just like with John Cena, fans will overlook small things with him in ring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
Totally agree.
It's a slower style too for Jericho. You know what I mean?
That's
so I
true.
feel like
That
because
is
CM
true.
Punk, when CM Punk went to AEW, everybody's like, he's finished, he's done. Punk is still going, man, and he still has a lot of matches. I mean, it's a bit shaky at times, but they cover it up because the style in WWE is way more cinematic. It's way more slower. It's more about the moment. It's not about the moves, and I feel like Jericho can fit perfectly in that situation. I think personally, I've had this in the back of my mind. I think Jericho and Dirty Dominic Mysterio is the feud that will be happening this year for the Intercontinental Championship. I feel like they're going to play the greatest hits. I feel like those two could put amazing television on, especially with the history of Jericho and Ray. But I like the idea of the GM, like you said, Jordy, where if he becomes a GM and people want to see him have that match, right? Let's say the Vision takes Pierce out, they get Jericho in. You could also maybe do Jericho versus Logan Paul. I mean, I don't really want to see that, but it's a possibility. You can build towards there. Maybe an LA Knight in there. You can have any wrestler disputing with Jericho and build towards that for WrestleMania.
I mean, look, I think a Dirty Dom and Jericho feud would be a lot of fun. I do think that would happen after WrestleMania, and I think
agree.
it'll be non-title, unfortunately. But
I think
who knows, because right now it's so unpredictable.
I do think that, like you just said, and I agree, Ben, I think Jericho is overhated, and I think you alluded to it as well, Des, without knowing, by saying CM Punk got a lot of hate. I think that might be the fact that they're at AEW and WWE fans can be tribal sometimes, and the vocal minority can be hating. I reckon if you look at a few of them accounts that have been Jericho hating for the past couple of years, a few of them might change tune if he comes back to WWE.
Well, they already have changed tune.
Yeah, I might be wrong about that, but we'll see.
There's multiple, and there's already screenshots from these accounts, right? They're faceless accounts, and I'm going to be honest, I never, if there were a Twitter account talking about wrestling and there were profile picture is also of a wrestler, I question their opinion to begin with, because how do I know that you're not a bot? I don't know. But if you look at some of these tweets making fun of Jericho 2 years compared to now, already being hyped up for his return, doing like a countdown last week to the Stranger Things episode, thinking he's returning there. Yeah. It is all very silly. Numero one says this is This is WWE, so suspensions. He's probably only suspended for 1 week. You're probably right there. But
Randy didn't get too much more, did he? Randy did not get a lot when he came back and RKO'd Pierce. It was, was it Aldis?
Well, it was Aldis. Yeah, he gave him the 50K.
Yeah. And then he gave him an extra 50K and said that's the next time.
Yeah, fair enough. Paying up front. Respect that.
There you go.
Yeah. I do think this is going to get treated a little bit more seriously, though, because it was repeatedly stopping them. And like, listen, if I'm Bronson Reed, by the way, I'm thinking like I've got off scot-free here because like he was telling me to stop and I hit someone with a tsunami.
Like, exactly.
I'm not getting suspended. I just like, I hope it was all Braun. Yeah, we should suspend Braun. It's definitely Braun's fault. And it's a Bronson Reed masterclass. It's a Bronson Reed masterclass to get him out of the way so he can have a title shot instead.
They should have just shown Bronson Reed backing up in that backstage segment they did, like walking through CN Pierce and just walking.
That'd be
backwards.
funny.
Like a Homer Simpson back into the
Homer
meme. Right? Just like walk back out and just be like, ooh.
But that, guys, does bring us to the end of the show. We got Steve-O Wrestler in the comments. Shout out. We will be back same time, same place tomorrow to talk everything news-related in professional wrestling. But thank you, Des. Thank you, Jordy. And we will see you guys then. And most importantly, thank you to everybody who's been commenting throughout this episode. We really appreciate you guys being here. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Peace.